something happens, something breaks in our brain the moment we like open up our website template. Let's say maybe I buy a template from you and it's time to write, what should the headline be? And it's like all of that natural ability to like share a cool story, or like this was really funny, or this is an experience I had, goes out the window, and we start to just type like markety stuff that sounds like, to Seth's point, everything else. So do you have any suggestions, or like what can somebody do? Like I'm sitting down to write some of the key copy on my site. Is there an exercise I can do, or a frame of mind I should be in to make sure what comes out doesn't sound like a Wells Fargo like homepage and it sounds like my unique brand?
Yes. I love this question. I do think that's true, because all of a sudden you become like this weird marketer robot and you say things like you never thought you would say, and you're using ciao casually and you're like, how am I this person right now? So there are several resources. One of them I'll just mention, and it's called our Attract and Repel guide. And basically all it is just some really solid voice of customer research. So we'll make sure that that's linked in the show notes for you guys, our Attract and Repel guide. That's a great place to start, because the biggest hack for writing copy is that you don't have to originate your copy. You shouldn't write it from scratch. You should not open a Google document right now and be like, I'm going to write my website. What you do first is you let your customers write it for you. And this is what I'm talking about. Basically, you ask your customers a set of questions. Hey, what are some problems that you had prior to working with me? Do this right after this podcast. Pick 3 or 4 of your favorite recent clients and say, hey, I'm doing some research on my brand. I would love to feature you on my website. And could I ask you a couple of questions? Ask them some questions like this. Number 1, hey, what were some problems you had prior to working with me? What were you experiencing? What was frustrating for you? Number 2, what was it like working together? What did you appreciate about the process? Is there anything that you would note? Number 3, what would you say to someone considering working with me or considering purchasing my product? What would you tell them? And then my favorite kind of magic question is just, is there anything else you'd like to add? And don't skip that one, because weirdly people will just give you like monosyllabic first answers, and then you'll say like, is there anything else you'd like to add? And they're like, well, actually, like your product gave me reason to live this year. And you're just like, where was that? So those questions, what happens is when you see it's like, if you can picture those kind of word clouds where you begin to see these common themes in what your customers say. So maybe it's something like they say, like, I was so frustrated because I couldn't find a photographer who just responded to my emails. And you see like, oh, 2 customers said that. That's interesting. Or it's a business coach that was like, I just felt like everyone was so salesy and I was so tired of being sold to. I just want someone who understood. Or I was looking for a mentor in my business, not someone who was just one and done, just trying to get me off a Zoom call so they could collect their check. So in your copy, all of a sudden, it's like, hey, tired of being sold to by marketing guys who just want to get you off a Zoom call so they can collect your check? Yep. Boom, headline writing done. Like killer headline. And it's because it's what your customers were actually saying. And here's what happens when you have customers that land on your website. They're like, how the heck did Graham know that? How did he know I was experiencing that? How did he know I was feeling that way? Like, this man gets it. Like, how, like, this is incredible. This guy is the only one that I want to hire for this service. And that to me is just like demystifying copywriting 101 is like, you don't have to write everything. Do great research and your customers will write your copy for you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Like that's like a mini masterclass in copywriting. Like what you just shared in the last like 5 minutes is worth like literally hundreds of thousands of dollars like this year for people if they implement.
Yeah.
Because it's fascinating. We can probably all think of some of our favorite sites that we land on. We just like, as marketers and business owners, we kind of like fangirl or fanboy over the copy. We're like, oh, it's so good. Like, and sometimes, so we can appreciate what went into it. But if, to your point, the example, somebody lands on the site and goes, oh my gosh, how did she know? How did he know? It seems like mind reading because of 2 reasons. One, we all think that we're special snowflakes and that our problems are unique. We're really, the more you interact with people to do the work you just described of doing, of interviewing your customers or prospects, you realize everyone, for the most part, has the same challenges in this space. You're going to see patterns of what everyone's dealing with. So it's not actually unique problems you're trying to solve. So if you just figure out what those real problems are, and then you just regurgitate it back to them, then they feel like you're reading their minds. And you're starting your website from the headline from a place of empathy, and that is like the doorway to selling, because it's like, wow, like you said it, he gets me, she gets me.
Yes.
Magic. I love that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And a good like kind of first step of this is just, what do your customers actually want? And I was just looking at the MailChimp website this morning, because they're a company, they get it. They get benefit-driven copy design. When you land on their website, it's clear what they offer, but it's clear what the benefits are for you. So if you're just selling wedding photography and you're one of a billion other wedding photographers, you're going to have to find some benefits that are beyond just like, I will shoot your wedding. So for MailChimp, what I love is I think their current headline on their site says, turn emails into revenue. It does not say the world's greatest email marketing platform, or like send decent emails, or anything really related to sending emails or what their platform does, because they realize what their customer actually wants is revenue. So that is what they're offering, is like, hey, we're going to help you turn emails into revenue. And you can't do that if you don't understand why people are actually working with you. What do they actually want?
That's a great example. And everyone, like, see how simple that headline is? It's not very fancy. Turn emails into revenue. It's almost like, you know, they're in a board meeting and they're like, well, basically what people want to do, right, is they want to turn emails into revenue. And someone says, that should be the headline.
That's it. Exactly.
That's how I came up with the title for my book. I had a couple of working titles and they all sucked. And then I tried to get creative, and those, I thought they were cool. And my publisher, and I mean, none of us really loved it. And I remember the publisher saying like, well, like, what would you say the book is really about? And I'm like, well, it's about like how to get paid for what you know. He's like, well, that's the title then. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, don't overthink it.
Totally. And literally that is a good like beta test of like what you should actually do. That's your litmus test of like, read your headline out loud to someone. And if they don't get it, rewrite it. Like, if you're being cute, and we say this all the time, you know, I land on a florist website and it's like turning the wonder of creation into beauty. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. But like, what the hell do you actually do? Yeah. Or, you know, a photographer, it's like capturing your joy eternally. And I'm like, so are you a photographer? Are you a writer? Like, how are you capturing my joy? You know, are you capturing my joy like in captivity in some way? You know,
stealing what?
Yeah, are you taking it from me, or do I get it back? You know, and so, but that's where like it's, you know, we're so tempted to be cute because we are trying to stand out, right? But your best headline is like, what does someone actually want? How can you convey to them that you get it, and then explain to them how you can help them get it? Like, first A, what do they want? Part B, how can you help them get it? And then C, like, click here to book now, buy now, add to cart. Like, that's all you got to do. So, and I would be remiss. There's one other point of this that I think is very important, because the most powerful thing, in addition to this copy structure that we're talking about, is you say it, right? Like, if you want wedding photography that does X, I can do that for you. What you need after that is 10 clients that say, I was looking for wedding photography that did that, and this is the person that can do it for you. You need, and this is the biggest mistake, probably the third biggest mistake that I see, is really not fully understanding how important testimonials, reviews, and social proof on your website can truly be for converting your brand. Because the stat that I love is that 31% of people are willing to pay 31% more for businesses that have great reviews, which basically just means like they care about great reviews more than they care about saving money. So you can charge more than your competitors. You could be a lot more than your competitors. But if you have the reviews that back it up, that say, actually, this was so worth the money, and that are echoing your brand story that you're telling, then all of a sudden you're capable of providing so much more and then making more for what you do every single day. And this is the biggest thing I look for when I'm on someone's website, is people will like have one review somewhere on a portfolio page. And that's why in all of our website templates, we build reviews in through every part of the site where people might make a purchasing decision. Because they are poised. They're looking for a reason to work with you. They want to be convinced. They are on your website. And there's nothing more powerful. You can say all day long, like, my process is streamlined and efficient, but they are going to kind of think that you might be lying until 10 other people say, that process was so streamlined and efficient. Please don't go anywhere else. Jen Olm said, like, tonic websites are like the best in the game. When that many people say that, it is worth so many more times. Then you can put all the effort you want into your copy, but someone else saying that story for you is the best thing that you can possibly add to your website for your brand.